Hello there. It's 6:07 p.m. West Coast time. I'm finally on here. I've had a series of delays. I honestly wanted to come on here at 5 o'clock today. My phone started ringing with more work that had to be taken care of, and also because I am fortunate enough to do intuitive readings for people. I had one of my clients consult with me, wanted some advice, and I'm going to talk with her later tonight, but I had to tend to that. Um, have a friend that I need to get some homeopathic medicine to, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do a long show tonight. Certainly cannot do 3 hours like I have done at some previous times. Hi, Kelly. Thank you for joining. Um, I was just explaining how insanely hectic this day has been. Um, I don't know, Kelly, are you a follower of astrology? Because we are going through the Lion's Gate portal right now, and I think we have an eclipse in Leo coming up, I think, in 2 days. Is it tomorrow or the next day? But anyway, things are getting really shaken up. Oh my goodness. Let's see. That's Subi 641A from UK. Hi. I was just in the UK about what was it, 3 months ago? I was there at the end of April, early May. I love the UK. I've been there numerous times in my life. This particular time I was in London and I was in Cardiff, Wales, but I've been through England, Scotland from top to bottom. I was once lucky to go there years ago with a very good friend of mine who is British. And I got to stay with his family in different locations, and I got a very personalized tour. But thank you for joining me. Um, and yes, what part of the UK? That's a good question, Kelly. Thank you for asking. Or maybe they don't want it to say. I try to walk that line to not invade people's privacy, but it is nice to know. And it's just nice to have you here. Um, I've had so many lovely messages from people since, of course, the passing from the Midlands. Um, I'm sure I've been through there. It's a funny story. It was one time I was a lot younger then. It's my 20s. Oh, my 20s. I miss them. But I went with my British friend and another friend who was quite the Anglophile. Hi, Danny. And we were in London and we rented a car. And we were, of course, going to rent something cheap. I think at the time, I guess I'm giving my age here, a Ford Fiesta. And we were informed that the Ford Fiesta had a puncture. And so they had no choice but to give us another car at the same price. And guess what they gave us? A Mercedes Benz. So some kids in their 20s with a Mercedes, you bet your life we had fun driving from London. I'm trying to remember all we go. We went to Plymouth and Eastbourne and Bristol. We worked our way up to Stonehenge and the Midlands and all the way up to Liverpool. And I gotta stop talking with my hands here. Up to Manchester, and then from there up to Scotland and Edinburgh. And I purposely took all these pictures out the car window with that Mercedes hood emblem on the car. And I also remember that when we stayed in Edinburgh overnight at a bed and breakfast, the next morning we discovered our hubcaps had been stolen off of the Mercedes. Oh, yes, and we didn't call it the car. It was the Mercedes. Did you park the Mercedes? Oh, where is the Mercedes? Would you bring the Mercedes around the corner? Yeah, those are some fond memories. Sherry, hi. Oh, thank you. And Deb, P9J, thank you. Greetings from Ohio. Wow, I am lucky to have so many wonderful people here. I was saying earlier, I've had messages from people. Lots of lovely condolences following the passing of my greatly, greatly loved cat, Sasha. And one of those, I've got several I still need to answer, including one from a lovely lady from Amsterdam. I was very, very touched by the message, and I'm just so sorry I haven't been able to answer everything yet. It takes time because I like to give a thoughtful reply back. And it's like the old days of snail mail and letter writing, where sometimes it would take a while to get around to answering a letter. Well, it's the same thing with email, I find, and text messages. And Kalola, oh, hi, and thank you. You were one of the people who sent me some lovely messages. And Andy, you're here. Rest in peace, Ben Jones, aka Dukes of Hazzard, and former congressman. Yes, I saw that on the news today. I wasn't a big watcher of Dukes of Hazzard, but I was familiar. Yes, Kaloa, so glad to see you live on this day when we lost Big Bear Eagle. Jackie, which was particularly a very big news story, local news story here in Southern California. I mean, we had, our local news was constantly showing the eagle cam, up in the trees with the nest. I mean, that was just a mainstay for us for years. Jackie and Shadow, the Eagles. And that was particularly sad for me, having, just lost my Sasha just over 2 weeks ago, and then to have the eagle die. And they mentioned that the eagle had anemia, and I learned that was one of the contributing factors to Sasha's passing. It was anemia related to feline lymphoma and a possible cancerous tumor in her colon. But it was very sudden, very heartbreaking, and that was heartbreaking to hear about Jackie the eagle. We loved Jackie the eagle. She was beautiful, and what a magnificent thing when we had been watching her all these years out in the wild on the cam, the camera up in the tree on the nest, and to actually see her, when she was brought into the veterinary hospital, aviary hospital, whatever you call it. And we got to see her up close, see her in person. She was so beautiful. My God, those eyes. And I understand she was estimated to be about 15 years old. And I don't know what the lifespan of an eagle is, but it seems to be 15 years is prevalent. Dogs, cats. When we lost the P9, I forget the number. It was the mountain lion was assigned the number that used to roam around in my neighborhood here in the Los Feliz part of Los Angeles. I think he was about 14 or 15 when he died. He was very ill toward the end, and he was also captured and taken in for medical care. And it was determined he needed to be euthanized. He was very, very ill. That was quite a story. If you remember was it P913? I can't remember for the life of me. P9 something. Yeah. And I understand they purposely give numerical names to a lot of these animals because they don't want people to get overly sentimentalized. Hence, like we did with Jackie and Shadow, the eagles, and I forget the names of their offspring. But yeah, we do tend to personalize them. And an animal like a mountain lion is very, very dangerous. And I think that goes back to the time there was this bear cub that got loose through a neighborhood, and it was named Sugar. So on the news, it was Sugar the bear. And people were like, oh, well, that bear was deadly. Teeth, claws, could have mauled you and ripped you apart, but yet people heard the name Sugar. So that's why they started assigning numerical names to make it less personal. But that mountain lion was actually very loved. The story was that he had crossed a freeway and then crossed another freeway, which was just a miraculous in itself. If you know Southern California freeways, 24/7 cars constantly going rapidly up and down the lanes. But he managed to cross 2 lanes and get over here to the Griffith Park area in Los Feliz. And he could never get back. to his home. So the poor mountain lion could never mate. He had no other fellow species with him. It had to be a lonely life for him, but he survived. Unfortunately, ate a lot of dogs and cats. But not that I'm making light of this, please no. But there was never a reported case in all those years of him ever approaching a human being or trying to attack, ever. But there were lots of sightings on camera, porch cameras and things like that would see the mountain lion walking by. But we peacefully coexisted with him until it was in my neighborhood oddly enough, about a block and a half from where I live. He was captured. He was underneath someone's house, and he was very ill. And we really got to see him up close, much like we got to see Jackie the eagle. And he was not in good shape. He was very emaciated, weak, and I forget what the actual illness was, but they chose to euthanize him. And then there was a memorial service held at the Greek Theater, which is here in Griffith Park. And I wanted to go to that, and it was free to the public, but you had to reserve a ticket. And I went online like a minute after the tickets were available, and everything was gone. You could not get in there. And I don't know what celebrities performed, but there were celebrity acts performing for the deceased mountain lion. And I think even though it was free to the public, it was done to encourage donations. And one of the things that has been done partially in honor of P9, whatever his name was, is out in, I think in Woodland Hills, there's an overpass. I don't know if they finished construction of it yet or they're still working on it, but it's a special freeway overpass that will have trees and vegetation, and it's wide enough to encourage animals to feel free to cross back and forth. That was the problem for the mountain lion. He had no way of getting back. Well, this will hopefully help solve that problem. Now, it might create some new problems. We'll wait to see that. But we love our animals. And anyway, I should get back to some of my comments here. Again, I don't know if I can be on as late as I normally am. I've got some things I've promised this evening, an intuitive reading for someone, and also, friend, I need to get some homeopathics too. I promised. I haven't even had time to have my dinner yet. I've been going today, but let me go back to my comments here. Okay, pardon me here. Oh yes, Sherry, I have. Oh, Sasha's been with me. Yeah, she loved me very, very much. People used to joke that Sasha thought of me more as her boyfriend than her owner, and that's not too much of a joke. That cat really was in love with me, like I was her boyfriend or her lover. I mean, it's but I loved her right back. So yeah, her spirit is with me, but I know she's happy on the other side. I know that. Just it's the same as what I get for almost anybody I read for the other side. You're definitely happy on the other side. It's a good place to be. It's just hard for us left behind, Need to go into that. We all know what that's like. I miss her terribly. I had I don't want to, maybe trauma is too heavy of a word to use, and maybe it's a little too drama queen to say I was traumatized, but yeah, I have been going through some PTSD over it because I'd never euthanized an animal before. No, I talked to many people go, oh, I've gone through it 3-4 times. I've done it many times. Well, this for me was my first time. I've always been lucky that my pets have died natural deaths. Well, Sasha probably would have passed away that night on her own, but it would have been a very agonizing, painful death. So I feel I did the right thing in helping her to transition over. But I had never witnessed that. When you're with this animal that you've loved so much, been your companion for over a decade, and you're there when they're giving the injection and they're stopping her heart. They put the animal, first of all, anyone who's not familiar with it, it's very, very humane. It's extremely peaceful and gentle. It's one injection, put the animal to sleep, and then they do the second injection immediately after that. They go to sleep very fast, and then the second one just stops the heart, and then they put the little stethoscope on Sasha's chest to confirm. And yes, I wailed, I cried, I lost it. And I keep getting images of that moment her heart stopped and putting the stethoscope on her. And I mean, I'm not trying to get heavy here or anything, but yeah, I'm being honest. It's comes up. We all deal with grief. I've said this on the show. Was it 2 weeks ago? I said this. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I said, grief is like an ocean wave. It just comes in out of nowhere. You can be just fine, and then wham, the wave comes. Well, yeah, it came some yesterday, but I'm okay. I want you to know that, please. I'm just talking about it. I'm a Cancer. We're emotional people. We wear our emotions on our sleeves. We can't help it. So we are. And I don't know if you've seen the videos I've been posting. I've got 3 up now. I'm going to put my 4th one up tonight of a series of about 10. I say about because I might do 1 or 2 more, where I just address the subject of loss of a pet and the grief and the feelings. Just my story, my perspective. And I always say, well, this is a forum for you if you guys want to talk about it, your own experiences, or if my story helps you in any way, well, then that's my honor. And that's also my way of honoring Sasha. She was a special animal and she deserves to be honored. I made her a media star, for goodness sakes. You guys used to see her here on the show. You remember that? I can't believe it because, she seemed so healthy up until a few weeks ago. Even up till the week before, I had no clue how sick she was because cats and dogs are extremely adept at hiding their illnesses. Part of that is just an instinct from being in the wild. An animal never wants to appear vulnerable and appear to be prey to their enemies, their predators. So they're very good at hiding their sickness. And Sasha hid it from me. And also another reason I was told dogs and cats will often hide this. They hate the vet. They're scared of going to the vet. They don't want to go. We all know that. I've had dogs and cats both in the car on the way to the vet, just trembling because they know where they're going. They hate it. It's always heartbreaking. Yeah. So anyway, I've got some videos I'm posting right now, just talking about it. Please check them out. They're not getting very big numbers, honestly. Maybe that's because it's too depressing for people, and I didn't mean them to be depressing. I just meant them to be honest and just vulnerable and forthright as I could be. But I hope in time they'll find an audience. I put lots of good hashtags on them. So maybe weeks, months from now, anyone who's lost a pet going through grief, maybe they'll stumble across my videos. Maybe they'll hope, maybe it won't, but they're there. Uncle, yeah, thank you. Well, yeah, I'm glad I wrote you back. Thank you for your message. I had a woman in Amsterdam write me the most beautiful letter, and I haven't answered her yet, and a few others, and I'm going to get around to it. I never ever want to appear rude or negligent. I try. But Andy, hi, how am I doing? I'm hanging in there. It's been a rough day. What was this cool? Oh, yes, I was a watcher for years. She and Shadow have so much personality too. She actually built a baby gate last year in the nest. I didn't know that. She was an incredible soul. Maybe those eagles in a way, because that nest cam was reaching out to millions of people all over the world. when they were talking about Jackie today on the local news, they said she may very well be the most viewed eagle in the history of humanity. So maybe in a way their eagle souls knew they had an audience, and they knew they were showing off. Maybe that's part of the baby gate there, but they were special and they were loved. Excuse me here. It has been so hot and humid here in Los Angeles. Oh, Kaloy, you answered my question earlier. In the wild, typically 15 to 25 years. Now, I didn't know they lived as long as that. 25 years. I think horses are known to live about 25, 30 years or so. But so many animals, lions, tigers, bears, mountain lions, whatever, dogs, cats, it seems something about 15 years. And I even talked about that. I've talked about it here on the show. I've talked about it in my videos, how for a pet, that's really rough on us. Why can't our dogs and cats live about 30 or 40 years? I mean, 15 years is just enough time for you to get really, really, really attached and bonded, and to be devastated when they go. And I even said that on Facebook. I said that invariably, whenever we get a pet, we make a pact with them that one day they are going to really, really break our hearts. I haven't had that happen with every pet I've ever had thus far. Most of us have, unless they outlive us by some chance. And that's a sad thing there. I remember seeing once a video of this dog that loved its owner, and the owner passed away. And it tore me up. The dog was lying on top of their master's grave at the tombstone, and the dog was weeping. The dog was weeping. They know, they're so intuitive. And I still remember one time I had a neighbor years ago, an elderly man passed away, and he had a dog and cat, and somebody had to round up the dog and cat and put them in a carrier together until somebody could come to get them. I was devastated, and I saw that sad dog and that sad cat. They looked so heartbroken. They looked so completely heartbroken. And I understand that when the person passed away, it was like about a day or more before he was found, and the dog and cat were just on his chest, guarding him, guarding his body. They wouldn't leave him. They're so loyal to us. Let's see here. Oh, Andy, eagles typically live 15 to 30 years in the wild. Some reaching 40. That's interesting. Andy, canine. Police dog? I don't know. I said P9, not canine, but I think canine is the designation for a police dog. But birds, I was always in the impression they had a long lifespan, because I used to have a pet cockatoo, and that was a mixed blessing. I ultimately had to find another home for him, but I had him close to 20 years, and I was told it was not unusual for a cockatoo to live to be at least 100. That people would often have to make provisions in their wills for their cockatoos. I thought that was going to be me, but he had to go. Unfortunately, I had too many complaints about the noise from neighbors. It wasn't the brightest. Not one of the brightest things I've ever done. I don't know if you remember that TV show Beretta with Robert Blake back in the 70s, where he had a pet cockatoo. Well, when I used to watch that show, I said, I'm going to get a cockatoo. I want a cockatoo. Well, I got one, and it was like, what did I get myself into? Oh my God. They are so intelligent. They have like the intelligence of a 3 to 5 year old child. And so as a result, they get bored easily. They want lots of constant attention. They're very dominant animals. And I was also told in the bird store when I got him, they said, now you do realize what you're getting yourself into here. You have to know that this bird is capable of killing you. Really? Yes, they instinctively know to go for your throat or your eyes. They'll go for your face, but usually it's your throat. And they're very quick and they're very swift. And I so okay. But he was such a sweet bird. I mean, he would like get under my arm when we watch television, or he'd get on my shoulder, and he loved to have his head patted. And you would never know that was a species of animal that could kill you at any time. And thankfully, he didn't, as I'm obviously still here, but he was getting too dominant, and I had to pass him on. This year the babies were Sandy and Luna. Yeah, I remember the name Sandy. There were I forget how many babies they had all together, and nobody knows what's going to happen to Shadow now. If Shadow is going to go back to the nest, if he will find another mate, or if he'll just fly off, go somewhere else altogether, because birds normally will mate for life. I've heard of stories of one bird dying and the other bird dies of a broken heart. Penguins will mate for life, and I remember seeing a really poignant photograph. I think the photograph might have won a Pulitzer Prize or won some major award. I think it was taken in Australia, because a lot of penguins from Antarctica will work their way up to Australia and surrounding islands. But it was an elderly penguin, and it was a female, elderly female, and her mate had died, and it was a young male penguin that had befriended her, and his mate had died, and one of the penguins had its wing on the shoulder of the other, like arm around the other penguin, and they were both just sitting together looking up at the moonlight together. But hearing that story, it made that photograph so powerful. Andy, oh yeah, there was once a sugar bear. There was some kid's breakfast cereal. All those breakfast cereals, just basically pure sugar. There was a theory that dentists always loved those cereals because it brought lots of business to them from kids with mouthful of cavities. And I was one of those kids, because I used to eat all those sugary cereals like Captain Crunch and Count Chocula and Lucky Charms. Oh, I don't know. They're all just pure sugar. So that's all I would eat for breakfast. No protein, no eggs or anything. I'd just have a bowl of sugar, and then I wouldn't brush my teeth. You didn't think of that. Oh, I already brushed my teeth. I don't need to brush them again. So you go to school with all that sugar in your mouth. And then, of course, you'd have classrooms full of other kids who had bowls of sugar for breakfast. So we were all hyped up. And then we'd have our sugar crashes later in the day, which I have a feeling the school teachers actually were grateful for. Let's see. Let me go through the comments. There's Imhurst. Hi, how are you doing there? And sorry, this thing skips on me. Let me go back. I tried to go down just a little bit. It skips way forward, and then I find my place again. Apologize for that. Oh God, just went way down. Okay, let me see if I can find my spot again. Okay, there we go. Chuck, people really care for wildlife, and we realize humans have really stolen their habitats. So there is a lot of empathy for them. You think, well, I agree with you there. We have stolen a lot of their habitats. Big Bear, been there a few times. That's a lovely, lovely area for wildlife. and it was just a perfect place for those Eagles. Andy, yes, that's what I was talking about. The memorial service for P-22. It was at Griffith Park. I had mentioned that I tried to get a ticket for it, and everything was gone within the first minute, completely gone. I couldn't get into that, and I really wanted to go. Elton John to do a song for the passing of P-22. Well, I don't know if he'd do it now because it's been several years. Elton John's not in very good shape right now. I understand that he's almost completely blind now. I don't know if he's regained any of his sight or not, but his performing days might be over. And it's interesting, speaking of Griffith Park, the Greek Theater, which was where the memorial service was held, that's actually a 15-minute walk from where I live. It's like the one concert venue where I don't have to deal with traffic and I don't have to deal with parking. I can just walk there. It's nice. And this was back when I was on the Screen Actors Guild nominating committee back in 2019. And I was getting all these invites to special screenings. And that was the year of the movie about Elton John's life. I think it was called Rocket Man. I might be wrong on that. Anyway, they were going to do a screening of that at the Greek Theater. And afterwards, they were going to have all the stars of the movie come out for a Q&A. And then Elton John was going to give a mini concert. Well, guess what? I got invited to it, but I didn't see my invitation until the next morning when I was reading my emails. I was like, no, I missed it. But you made me think of that. So that does tie in a little. Let's see. Oh, yes. Jim Hurst. Yes, Sasha did love me dearly. You know that with your own kitties. Cats are really misunderstood by some people, including my own family. My sister, the rest of my family hates cats. Well, maybe that's a strong word. Dislikes cats. My sister would tolerate Sasha, but she was never a cat person. I was like the one person in my family who really loved them. And I kept saying, you just don't get it. You don't understand how special these animals are, how smart and how loving they are and loyal. They're just people who don't know cats. Well, we do. We love them. And don't get me wrong, I love doggies, but in my situation, an apartment living and so forth, dogs just are not a good idea. I haven't had a dog in about 35 years for that reason. They're a lot of work. It's like having a 3-year-old child that never grows up. You have to plan your whole life around them, your schedule. You can't leave them for very long. A cat is so much easier. Sorry. Trying to turn that off. Let's turn my phone off. Sorry, I forgot I had that on. Cats are easy. Food, water, and a litter box. I mean, I know it's not that simple. Obviously, they need more attention than that. But I never worried, like, if I had to go away for the day and be gone for 12 hours. Or like when I went to Europe for a couple of weeks and I had my friend Anastasia come in and look in on Sasha just to make sure she was all right and all of her needs were met and give her some attention. Cats have that wonderful independence about them. Sasha was so loving and adoring to me. But even under the best of circumstances, she liked to go off and be by herself. She was always a loner. She was always going off to the kitchen to be by herself or the bathroom to be by herself. She liked her privacy. I always respected that. And that's one of the reasons I didn't realize how sick she was at the end, because she was just off doing her own thing and sleeping a lot. So I just didn't pay a lot of mind to that. And don't think I didn't have guilt and shame, like, should I've gotten her to the vet earlier? Was there more I could have done? But I have been assured that the likelihood is no. If I had brought her in 3 days earlier, it would have been the same thing. Probably would have had to have euthanized her. or if I watched her closely for signs and then brought her back in, but I would have known. Maybe the one blessing is I would have known the end was coming, because I would have been with that cat every single second, just telling her over and over how much I loved her with her, even though she knew that. I would have tried to have given her a proper goodbye, but it was so sudden. I didn't know. I did right up until when I put her in the carrier to take her to the vet that night at 9 o'clock. Never in my wildest fathoming did I think I was going to come home with a dead cat. Never did I expect that. And thankfully, I don't mean I literally came home with a dead cat. The veterinary hospital was kind enough to put her in their freezer, and then I picked her up the next morning to be cremated. And I always want to drive this message home. If nothing else, folks, if you ever have to cremate a dog or cat, check with your Humane Society. I don't know if some still use SPCA, others say Humane Society, but the one in Pasadena they will cremate a dog or cat for only $50. And there are pet crematoriums, cemeteries that will charge you hundreds of dollars for the exact same service. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. I don't want to impugn those businesses, but honestly, I think they play on your emotions and your guilt and your sorrow in the moment. Pasadena SPCA, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that they make available. And I want everybody to know, please check into that if you ever have that. You have to face that, which as a pet owner, we sooner or later usually have to. So that's a public service message there. And may you not have to do that, or not for a very long time. Chloe, it's not a drama queen to feel traumatized. It's horrific. I've done it 3 times. It's a friggin' nightmare. Thank you, because I had never done it before. And I have found some PTSD come up for me. I keep seeing that image over and over, the stopping her heart and then taking that stethoscope and putting it on her, saying it's done. And I even closed her little eyes. And it's also, when we're kids, 15 years is an eternity, especially when you're a young kid, 7, 8 years old. That's longer than you've been on the earth yourself. But when you get to our ages, 10, 15 years goes by like a blink of the eye. And it was just like no time ago. She was 10 weeks old and I was bringing her home when I went down to San Diego to get her from this wonderful Siamese cat breeder named Diane Kramer. In fact, I think I've told this before, but I have this carrier, pet carrier. That was the one I used to bring her home in this very apartment. I brought her in this apartment. She was 10 weeks old. Flash forward 11 years and 1 month later, I'm putting her in that exact same carrier. And I'm taking her out of this apartment for the very last time. So that carrier, I kept it outside my door for 3 days. I couldn't bring it inside. I couldn't look at it. Still have it in the hallway. I know I got to put that thing in storage or something. I don't want to get rid of it just on the chance, the slight chance I get another cat. But I don't think that's going to be for a long, long time, if ever. Well, maybe that's fatalistic to say if ever, but it's going to be a long time. I've got to just mourn and take my time on this. And I think what I will do, as I've said, is volunteer, at the Pasadena SPCA, or it's the Pasadena Humane. Forgive me, I'm not naming it correctly, but they have a beautiful, beautiful state-of-the-art cat shelter there. And I might check to see if they let you volunteer once in a while. I couldn't do it on a regular basis, but I think it'd be once in a while. It'd be a nice thing to do. That way I'll get my cat fix. And I am a big believer that I say this all the time, you take that love that you hold in your heart and you pass it on to the next pet. You'd literally just take that love that you had and give it to the next pet. And that is the best way possible to honor the previous pet. They wouldn't want it any other way. They want you to pass that love on. It's just like some of Sasha's belongings. I like her cat food. I'm gonna wrap that up and maybe I'll put it out for stray cats. Maybe I'll find somebody who'd like to have it. I've already given away her cat litter. Her scratching posts are destroyed. I don't think anybody wants those. Even Sasha, I needed to get new cat scratching posts. I'll throw those out. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with my cat tree. Yes, I have a 6-foot cat tree in my kitchen. Yes, I spoiled my cat. I'm holding on to that. Don't want to get rid of the litter box just yet because I may need it again one day, but I'll put those things in storage in all likelihood. But I'm passing some of her things on to other kitty cats. But I'd like to take my love for Sasha and give it to other cats that need it in those shelters. And I think I told the story of is it the Riley Center? Maybe my name's wrong. Forgive me if it's wrong. I think it's called the Riley Center, and it was named that because a man was very devoted to his Siamese cat, and he was lucky to have 18 years with that cat, and the cat was apparently named Riley. And when he passed away, he left a lot of money, and I think his sister added to that. It was something like, I think, $2.5 million they left to the Pasadena SPCA specifically to build a state-of-the-art cat shelter where cats could be kept under optimal conditions, where it would be a low stress environment for them, because that makes it easier for cats to be adoptable when they're not all stressed and wigging out, when they're just in their element. So he was very mindful of that. And there's a beautiful plaque when you go in. It's a photo plaque telling the whole story of it. And I would like to volunteer there. I miss Sasha. I miss having a cat around me. I'll do it again. I think I will, but I've got to get ready for that. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But I'm doing better. I'm holding up. I don't fall apart so much, but I miss her more than you could ever know. Maybe you do know. Andy, when I lost my mom, I can say my body has gone numb, like I don't believe it was real. I know we often go into primal places. Sometimes we feel like we've even gone out of our bodies. I went through that when my mother died. When I got the news on the phone from my sister, and I've told this too many times now, but I knew it was happening. I knew she was in her final weeks, but it still hits you to the very core of your being. I have a friend who had a nightmarish relationship with his father. It was very abusive, and they'd been estranged for decades. But when his father died, my friend fell apart just the same. He said it still just hits you to your core. There's just, no matter what your relationship was with your mother and father, it hits you to your core. And that's what happened to me with my mother. Really, really was not prepared for all the things that came up. And, I did a lot of things to work through the grief. And of course, that in itself is a process. It's been 23 years now. It still hits me. I still get that tidal wave come in from time to time. It never really goes away. But one of the things that I did, because I'm very good with memories. I'm very good memory my memory really goes back to when I can still remember being a baby, being washed in a bassinet. My mother put it on the countertop in the bathroom with the window open when it would be springtime and the flowers. I still remember that. I don't know how old I was then, but that's probably one of the earliest memories that I have. And Warrior King Queen, I saw here a gift. Where's this? Warrior Queen. Thank you. I've got to find this. How sweet. Let's see if it'll tell me here. It's not opening up, but I'm going to look for that. Hopefully I'll see it in a moment. Thank you very, very much. So sorry I can't open it just yet, but I thank you. That's very, very kind. Let me scroll back up here again. Oh yeah, I was talking about how it helped me a lot to keep a journal. I'm a journal writer anyway, but I bought a special thick volume journal just for memories of my mother. And no order, no rhyme, no reason, just random as could be. Whenever a memory would pop up in my head, I'd write it down in the journal. And sometimes it was good memories. Sometimes it was just silly little in between, nothing memories. And sometimes they'd be bad memories, but I put everything down. And I think I wrote in that journal for about 9-10 months before I filled it up. And I basically have my mother preserved in that book now. It's all out of order and all over the place, but it preserves my mother. And it was quite therapeutic for me. So I pass it along if that's ever of help to others, whether it be a pet, a loved one, Andy, your own mother. Warrior Queen, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to open your gift here and I can't find it, but that is so sweet of you. I apologize. You must think I'm being terribly rude. I can't find it here, but I saw it pop up. I'll keep looking for it. Okay, let me go back here. Oh, Sherry O'Twee, it's my sweet kitty Twiggy came to visit me after she passed. Oh, yeah, they're around us. They're around us. They love their homes. They want to come back here to visit from time to time. Yes, Randy DeMel, grief is the price we pay for love. Yeah. And grief is also like a confirmation that love was very real. Oh, thank you, Chloe, about my videos. Yeah, I'm not getting a huge response for them. My numbers are really low on those. And I thought after 3, am I depressing the hell out of people with these things? But I pre-recorded 10, so I'm going to put them all up one by one, and they'll just be out there. Anyone who needs them. And Sherry O'Twee, I had to put her down due to cancer. She was 12. My Sasha was 11. I felt guilty about it, but when she visited me, I felt only love from her, and it eased my guilt. Yep, same thing here. Same thing here. No, Sasha was grateful. She would have had a horrible death had I not done that. I think she might have passed away during the night, but it would have been very bad for her. And I know she's happy on the other side. I just feel her romping around all over the place and jumping and proud. And I also sense that she's with another female cat. I only had 2 female cats in my life. Sophie and Sasha. And they've been hanging out and coming to visit. I know that. They've been coming around. And I also know they'll be there. They'll be there when it comes time to pass over to the other side, the infamous Rainbow Bridge or whatever you want to call it. They'll be there to greet us. And I'm very excited about that. In fact, honestly, a little more excited to see my pets again. All my dogs and cats and birds and fish and hamsters and whatever else I had. I think I got chameleon and had mice. I forget all the pets I've had in my life, but yeah, I love the idea of them all being there waiting. And I'll be like, oh, Grandma, Mom, Dad, I'll be with you later. I'll be with you later. I'd want to see my dogs and cats. Oh, well, sure. I'm so sorry I had to do that, but I'm glad you felt the love. Well, Randy DeMille, thank you for that. Yeah, Andy, that's actually an idea. I've thought of that, about doing a confirmation video. Uh, I say confirmation, compilation video, blah, blah. I can't talk. Because Sasha may be the most documented pet I've ever had in my whole life. Um, she came around in the iPhone era. Charlie, my cat before her, to a degree documented, but Sasha, I have got so many pictures and I've got so many videos going all the way back to when she was 10 weeks old, when I first brought her to this apartment. And sadly to say, all the way up to the very, very end when I was saying goodbye to her. I didn't record her being euthanized. God forbid I wouldn't have done that. But that final hour I was with her, she was not in good shape, and she was going in and out of consciousness. But when she'd wake up, I'd take a few pictures and a little video. I got like a little snippet of video of her looking at me one more time, and I can't bear to watch that. But I do have beginning to end of her life documented. I could certainly put something together. But honestly, I'm not emotionally ready to do that. Maybe in a few months. Maybe when I'm in a different place. But right now, that would really tear me up. And yeah, I remember that movie, Hachi. Oh my God, that dog. I think that was the movie with Richard Gere, and it's based on a true story of how the dog would come to greet his master every day. I haven't seen the movie in years. I think he would ride by train every day, and the dog would be there waiting for him to greet him. And then one day the master died, and the dog kept coming there every day for the rest of his life, sitting there patiently waiting for him. And when the dog passed on, they dedicated a statue of the dog, and they put the statue in the very spot where he used to sit every day. And they made that movie. If anybody watch that movie and not cry, anyone. Pat Sparrow, greetings to you too. And Warrior Queen Magic, you're here. I'm sure I'll be able to find your gift after the show. I do apologize. I can't get that to open right now, but thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see. Let me get through the comments here. I'm trying so hard not to do a long, long, long show like last week because I've got a busy night tonight. I've got an intuitive reading I'm doing for someone tonight, and also a friend I need to get some homeopathic medicines to that I promised her. And I haven't even eaten dinner tonight. That's how busy my day's been. Feels like it's cooling off a little. At least it's been miserably hot here. Black Bell Tarot. I'm so sensitive to any animal these days. Oh, well, their energy is so pure. Their love is so pure. It's unconditional and it's honest. You only get honesty from an animal. They let you know exactly how they feel. That is one thing about a cat. Some cats, you have to earn their love. But once you got it, you know it. You never have to doubt it again. Sasha made you earn it a little bit in the very beginning. But Sophie, the other cat, she was like the purest soul I've ever known in my life. I've always said the purest human soul I ever knew was my grandmother, my late grandma. She was the only grandparent I ever knew in my life because my other three died before I was even born. But grandma was a pure, pure, pure soul. And Sophie, never known any species. A pure, just bigger, open heart. She died in 2001, and I miss that cat to this very day. I've never gotten over the loss of her. I used to have cat haters come over and say, I don't like cats, but that cat I would take. I would take that cat. That cat's extraordinary. Sasha, there were a few people I don't think they would have said that about her. She was very possessive of me. Hey, Stephanie, I'm so glad you and Tammy are here. Oh, Stephanie, I'm so proud of you, all the success you're having. You're just a gifted filmmaker. And, when the time comes, let us know where your online screening is going to be. We'll announce it here on the show. We'll get the word out for you. Please tell me how I can help you in any way I can. Dr. Stephanie Hunter Jones is, well, aside from being a brilliant therapist, sex therapist, aren't too many in this country, right? You're one of them, and you're one of the best. I think you were born to do what you do. But she's such a gifted writer and artist, and now is making incredible short films with great messages in them. Very proud of you, my dear. And Tammy, you are an authoress with a #1 bestseller on Amazon. I'm proud of you both, and I'm happy to have you here. Let's see here. Warrior Queen's Magic. Wow, I love parakeets. Yes, parakeets. I've had several parakeets. I love them. Maybe that's my answer instead of another cat for a while. Just maybe a parakeet. I don't know. I just I can't bear the thought of another pet of any kind right now. But parakeets are very sweet. I used to have a blue parakeet with he had white on his chest that looked like clouds. Such a beautiful little bird. He lived about 4 or 5 years, but he got to be so tame. I'd let him out of his cage, fly around, and he'd get on my shoulder, and he used to get on my finger. And the funniest thing, when I would eat ice cream, he would get on the end of the spoon when I was eating. And this was in the pre-cell phone era and everything. I don't have any video of that. I wish I did. But they're remarkably intelligent little creatures and remarkably loving little things. Never thought about getting another parakeet. Maybe I certainly wouldn't have done it while I had Sasha, because I wouldn't have had that parakeet for very long. Sasha could get into anything, and I mean anything. I used to see her walking across the tops of my curtain rods. I've told about how sometimes late in the middle of the night I'd hear cans crashing to my kitchen floor. Sasha would figure out how to open the kitchen cabinets and get in the very highest shelf and start pulling things out. So there was no such thing as keeping things away from her. So I'm sure no parakeet would have been safe in this apartment. Oh, Amherst sent a gift also. Thank you. Thank you. I'll check those in a bit. It's not letting me open them. I'm sure after I get off the show, I will check. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Very kind. But yeah, Sasha, she might have made a little snack out of what, Petey the parakeet or whatever it would have named it. I would have seen her with a contented look on her face, not a guilty look, a contented look with some feathers sticking out. Like, I'm thinking of Sylvester and Tweety. It would have been those kind of dynamics. But yeah, Sasha could get into anything. That's one of the few things I have done since Sasha passed away. I didn't realize how much that cat controlled my life. Not that I'm complaining. I would have her back in a heartbeat. I'd have her back this second if I could have her, but I can't. I have beautiful leather chairs, 3 beautiful leather chairs that for the past 11 years have been covered in blankets. I got some nice Navajo Indian blankets, but nonetheless covered in blankets. I might as well have had cheap cloth chairs from Goodwill. You never would have known. So it was literally the first time in 11 years I've been able to enjoy my leather chairs again. I mentioned I've been at Trader Joe's where they sell the cheap doesn't sound right, inexpensive bouquets of fresh cut flowers. And I've always thought, wouldn't it be nice to just take home some fresh cut flowers once in a while? And I thought, I can't do that. Not with Sasha. I tried that one time. Came back about an hour later, found broken glass, water everywhere, and some chewed up flowers. That was not going to happen in her lifetime. I could never have candles. Caught the dear little bitch taking her paw, trying to smack the flame. They can be so smart and they can be so dumb at the same time, can't they? But she was trying to play with the flame of the candle. I thought, okay, that's not going to work. I'll burn my whole building down. I could never put up a Christmas tree. Had a really nice, expensive artificial Christmas tree. And I used to love it because I have ornaments that I've collected for like really since childhood, and expensive ornaments, how the day after Christmas and they're like 80% off. That's how I built up this beautiful collection. I couldn't put that up anymore. The one year I tried, she destroyed the tree, pulled down all the branches, even though I had them wired onto the tree, tied on, she still managed to pull them off. I'd hear crash, crash, crash during the night. There went my $70 ornament that I paid $20 for, but still, I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't put out a house plant. So those are a few things I can do now, but it's still not the same without Sasha. Like I said, I would happily continue to give that all up. Oh, I told her how I couldn't even put towels on my bath rack. 11 years, I could never have towels on the bath rack when company would come over. Like you, Stephanie, Tammy, and you'd come over. I'd put one towel on the rack and hope for the best. But more often than not, they would end up shredded. I remember one time I bought brand new towels at Target. 2 hours later, found them shredded to pieces. First year of her life, I couldn't put toilet paper on the wall. I had to keep that on an upper shelf. I couldn't put paper towels out. They'd be, wow, you get the picture. So it's small consolation, but that's a few things in my life. But Warrior Queen's Magic, thank you for reminding me of parakeets. Thank you. I might think about that. That might give me that. It would be a little pet that I'd have. It'd be low maintenance, something as I go through this without cats right now. Or I'm just going to do volunteer work at the cat shelter and let that be enough. Just Misky. Hi, Chuck. How are you continuing at your own pace heal? Are you continuing to at your own pace heal? Yeah. That's what I was mentioning in Kaloa. I had a really nice dream visitation for my boy a couple of months ago when I really needed it the most. Yeah, they know. It was a lucid dream, so I really appreciated it while I was in it. Well, because I do a lot of channeled readings for people, and I channel from the other side. I mean, it's most definitely an optimum time when we are in that sleep state. I think they call it the alpha state. Forgive me if I have my terminology wrong, but in that sleep state, it is an excellent time for spirits of loved ones to come visit us, for our pets to come to us. I've told my own stories. And when you say a very lucid dream, I mean, I've had dreams like that where they are so intense, so real. I had that the first time Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis came to me, the first time Lucille Ball came to me, the first time James Dean came to me, all in very vivid, intense dreams. Like it was like I was literally there with them. And I told that story about how I was working on my book about I Love Lucy at the time, and Lucy was not happy with me about something. And Lucy's spirit is extremely forthright, very loving, but very, very forthright. And she can be really stern. It's not Lucy Ricardo. Let me tell you that. Lucille Ball was a different entity, but I love her dearly. She's like a guardian angel to me, but she wasn't happy with something I wrote. And she came to me about 3 a.m. I will never forget those intense blue eyes right up to my eyes. I mean, blazing blue eyes. She had a temper. Desi had the Latin temper and she had the Irish redhead temper. That's what made them such a volatile couple. But she really read me the riot act. But then she corrected me and told me what the actual story was and how I could change it that would please her. And I'll just tell this again real quick. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but it was the next day. I was walking around in Pasadena and I was so shaken by that dream. It was that, do you ever have a dream where you wake up and you're shaking. It's that real and that intense, like a lightning bolt. And I talked out loud while I was walking on the sidewalk. Not loud. I didn't want people to think I was one of those crazy people who talks to himself, but I just said, Lucy, if that was you last night, I want you to give me a sign. Swear to God, turn my head. And in a store window was this great big I Love Lucy pillow. The second I said, you give me a sign, I turned my head. Whoa! So I didn't doubt that dream ever again. This was when I was learning a lot of this early on. Now I just accept it as fact. It's just something I do. And I also emphasize to each of you out there, you all have the ability as well. I don't claim any exclusivity. We all have this. We all do. But some of us are just maybe a little more practiced and a little more attuned. Let's see. But anyway, Kalala, I'm glad you had that dream. And Warrior Queen's Magic. Yeah, I'm behind on my comments here, but yeah, we were talking about that, about the eagle. That was Jackie the eagle, passed away this afternoon. And I was just saying how that death hit me a little hard because it's just so soon after losing Sasha. And they mentioned that Jackie the eagle had, I'd be careful to say eagle and not ego. Eagle had anemia and they were trying to treat it. And when I brought Sasha in, they checked her vitals, they were very bad. And the vet said, well, she's got anemia, really bad anemia. That's one of the things. We don't think her heart is even pumping enough blood anymore. And her internal organs are probably shutting down because they're not getting enough oxygen and blood flow. And again, Sasha seemed fine. She hid it from me so well up until maybe 3 days beforehand. So to hear things like that, that she was anemic, but to hear that with Jackie the eagle also. And of course, we've talked about it before on here, but Jackie was very loved. We'd been watching her on the eagle cam for years with her mate Shadow, and we saw several eaglets being born, and this was telecast all over the world, but it was big here in Southern California. We'd see it a lot on our local news here, and we'll definitely be something we're all going to miss. Oh yeah, Andy, that's so true about Debbie Reynolds dying of a broken heart after losing her daughter Carrie. Well, it goes even further than that. And this was told by her son, Todd Fisher, who witnessed the whole thing. Not to go into all of it here, but Carrie Fisher had a lot of special needs, and Debbie was very much her caretaker right up until the very end, when I think Carrie was 60, 61, 62, and she died of a heart attack. But Debbie took great care. They even had houses that were side by side on the same property. That's how close they were. And Debbie, understandably, was beyond devastated, inconsolable. And she was sitting with her son, Todd, the next day. And she said, Todd, Carrie needs me. She needs me. And then she said, and this is all according to Todd, he said, do I have your permission to die? Do I have your permission? And he said, yes. And he watched it. She closed her eyes. And 15 minutes later, she was dead. Apparently, she induced a cerebral hemorrhage or something. I think that's what they said she died of. But she willed her own death. He witnessed it right then and there. And I believe that she and Carrie are together. I had one of you out there ask me to channel the two of them, and I haven't done that one yet because I have a list of people. But I think it would be interesting to see what they have to say. I was an extremely devoted mother and daughter. I also had a very good I know a personal example. I had a very good friend who she was only 40 years old when she died. She had cardioarrhythmia, and the one and only funeral I've ever attended in my life, I also gave the one and only eulogy. I gave the eulogy at her funeral at the request of her family. But I remembered I was there and I saw her mother. Her mother was just inconsolable, trembling, crying. And the next day, my friend's sister called me and said, Chuck, you're not going to believe this. Our mother just died. She had to go be with her. So that's an example I know from my personal life. It happens. Apparently we are capable of willing ourselves, or we know when it's our time. I think Sasha knew it was her time. Animals are very good at that. They don't have a problem with it because they come here for such a short time. They come here from the spirit world. It's like a ride. They come here for a really great ride, and then it's like, okay, it's time for me to go back now. And I always got that sense with Sasha, and that's something that I've made peace with. But it's so hard for us who are here. But you're right, Andy. That was the story of Debbie Reynolds. Black Belle Tarot, wearing Queen's Magic. Yes, she did pass away. She was very ill, and they did a great job to keep her alive. The whole team did a great job. Yeah, Jackie the Eagle was probably getting better medical attention than most people. That was probably the first celebrity eagle they had ever had, and they knew literally the whole world was watching. Sometimes that does happen. With celebrities. I understood from someone I talked to at Cedars-Sinai Hospital the week Lucille Ball was there, and she subsequently died. He said the medical team went way, way beyond the normal to try to save Lucy. They gave 77-year-old woman, they did a partial heart transplant on her. Things that they might not have done for someone else, but because we're talking literally the most loved woman on the planet. In fact, that was verified by a poll, a Gallup poll taken shortly before Lucy's death. Who were the most loved women in the world? Number 1 was Mother Teresa. Number 2 was Princess Diana. Number 3 was Lucille Ball. So she was literally one of the most loved human beings on the planet. So they were trying to save her. And they said when her aorta ruptured early in the morning, a few days after the surgery, they spent long time, CPR, oxygen. They were doing every possible thing they could to bring her back because it was Lucille Ball, but they couldn't do it. Well, Jackie the Eagle got that kind of VIP treatment, but even with that, they couldn't save her. She was such a beautiful creature. That was the gift of being able to see her in captivity. I don't know if any of you noticed those incredible eyes she had. Wow. So majestic. Let's see. Let me just scroll through some comments here. I'm trying to speed this up just a little bit. And actually, I also need to plug in my laptop because it says my Mac is about to die. We can't have that happen during the show. Okay, now I'm electrified again, so hopefully this won't cut out. Oh yeah, Black Belle Tarot. Yeah, because I'm behind in my comments here. You're reiterating what I said. And Andy, the song Elton John did for Princess Diana, which of course was originally done for Marilyn Monroe. Which he changed some of the lyrics for Princess Diana. And it's just so hard to believe next year is going to be 30 years. And now that I mention it with some of my upcoming videos, I have a very long channeled message from Princess Diana. And I'm debating over editing it down and keeping the essence of it, or just splitting it up into 2 or 3 parts. I might do that. There's a little part of me gets a little scared when I do these because you know why? when I did my reading with Amelia Earhart, the last I looked, it got over 48,000 views. That's the most I've ever had for anything. And I'd say 90% or better of the comments were highly positive. People definitely believed me. I had professional psychics, mediums contact me and tell me they believed me. They felt it was authentic. The right people who understood got it. But also comes with that a lot of mean comments, like you're a fake, you're a charlatan, you're going to go to hell, talking to the dead. The Bible says that you don't do this. I know, and I know better. I know to let stuff like that roll off my back. I know that's part of what goes with that. But I'm a sensitive guy. I'm a Cancer. As I said, we're very, very, very sensitive people, and we get our feelings hurt easily, and it made me a little skittish. Like, do I want to subject myself to that again? And I've put up some, like my Harry Truman and my Betty Davis, quite positive, but I'm thinking putting up some videos saying I channeled Princess Diana, and I do believe I did. It's there. The messages are beautiful. She was a woman who preached love and peace, peace for your fellow man, love, give of yourself. That it was along those lines. I'm paraphrasing it, but there were beautiful messages. Now, she also gave me a little bit about her concerns about Prince William, about Charles. She admitted some things that I kind of suspected, and but I heard it from her directly that, well, I don't know if this is a known fact or not, but I have a friend who is in the real estate industry, and he's friends with a very, very big real estate person in Malibu, sells mansions to the stars. And it's not well known, but Diana and Dodi Fayed were coming to Los Angeles and secretly looking at mansions. And Diana wanted to just start a new life here, apparently, but that's never been completely confirmed. But my friend said, yeah, absolutely, they were here. Well, she was telling me in the message that she actually had harbored the idea of trying her luck in the movies. But then she quickly added to me, well, I also knew I had no talent. She was very honest about herself. Look, I had no talent, but I had a delusion that I wanted to do that. So I realized that I put something like this up, I'm going to be opening myself to the very same criticism I got with the Amelia Earhart. But I realized I have to be brave. I'll put them up in time. But let me get back to the comments here. Boy, I get off on tangents, don't I, when you ask me about Elton John and the song for Princess Diana. But I love her soul very much. I was in England. I was in London about 18 months or so after she had died. This was back in 1999. And the city was still dealing with the grief and the fallout of Diana's death. It was still being talked about. And I took a tour of some of Diana's favorite places, and it culminated with Kensington Palace, where she lived. And the tour guide told us that the flowers were stacked like 8 feet high on the lawn of Kensington Palace, which goes on for acres and acres and acres. She said the flowers were so high. Flower stores in the city were completely depleted. They were having to call in from America, South America, Africa to have more flowers flown in. There had never been a demand like that before. And she said there were so many flowers that all throughout London, even miles into London, you could smell flowers in the air everywhere. So it's a little bit of, and they also said it killed all the grass on the lawn of Kensington Palace. And supposedly Princess Margaret was not happy about that. Let me get on here. F1 Fanic, any progress on Marie Antoinette? I hope so. It would be nice to hear something. Yes, As a matter of fact, I do have a channel reading from Marie Antoinette. I plan to make this into a video, and I'm also working on a piece of art to go with it. And what I did, because as an artist, I don't want to copy another artist's work. And obviously there are no photographs, but there are paintings, and I didn't want to just copy somebody's paintings. So I found a picture of, some say it was her life mask and others say it was her death mask. And I suspect it was her death mask, but it was made by Madame Tussaud to create a wax figure of her. And I thought, well, now that's as close as I'm going to get to her actual life image. So I've got a portrait I'm working on to go with it. And with a video, let me see. I don't know if I can find it on here offhand. I wasn't expecting you to ask me about that. But maybe that might be, I don't know how many more comments I have on here, because this might be a good way to wrap this up. But let me just scroll through here. Okay, I've got a few more comments. Let me go back. But I've been promising you this forever, and I actually haven't seen you on here for a while. F1 Fanic. Let me find your comment. Okay, I'm so sorry. I've got to go back here. Oh, I see Joyce Petrus is on here, my personal astrologer. Joyce, what the hell is going on right now? It is really weird astrological stuff going on with this Lion's Gate and this eclipse and everything. I have been waking out. Let me go back to my comments here. I'm trying to find you, F1 Fanic. Okay. Okay, let me go back here. Because this might be a good way to wrap this up and then finish up some comments. Oh boy, I'm really, really way off here. Okay, Marie Antoinette. Okay, give me a moment. I got to find it on my iPad here. So I worked hard on this. This was not one of my easier readings, because it was coming in like a radio signal where sometimes it'd be strong, sometimes it's not. And then I wanted to be really sure that it was authentically Marie Antoinette and not an imposter soul, because that happens sometimes. I actually did a lot of testing with my pendulum and just listening to my intuition to where I felt comfortable enough that I could accept that this was a real reading from her. So let me see if I can find it. Just 1 second, or more than a second, obviously. Okay, Marie Antoinette. And I'm reading this cold here. Usually if I'm going to read one of these, I do read it out loud once or twice to myself. I'm just reading this cold. I find it. So I know you waited on this. So this was pieced together from several readings. But F1 Fanic, you wanted Marie Antoinette. I was egregiously, and I'm reading from my iPad what I wrote from her, because I'm just going to remind people, my method of channeling like this is I sit down usually with a fountain pen and paper. I like fountain pens because it flows, or I'll sit at my keyboard because I can type as fast as I can think and receive. And so this was a little bit of both. I'm sorry, I'm just going to get a drink here first. Allowed to read. Okay, I was egregiously mistaken by my people as a cold and cruel woman without compassion. I promise with all of my heart that was not the truth about me. I was considered the ultimate elitist without a shred of empathy. I was turned into and utilized as a metaphor for all that was wrong with society. Well, it was too easy and too convenient. There were many false accusations against me. Ultimately, I became a martyr for reasons of politics rather than religion. I was a target for the perceived failures of the French monarchy and wider social and economic crises. People considered me directly complicit because of the crown on my head. I was certainly not a blameless saint, but I was not a frivolous, thoughtless, empty-headed villain either. I found it weird she used empty-headed, but I took the spirit of what she meant there. I was not a frivolous, thoughtless, empty-headed villain either. Please question the stories you have been told in your records. An authentic historical reckoning should never overly simplify the complexities of a human being and their existence on earth as being only, quote, good or bad, end quote. Such an insult. I am grateful to the scholars who take the time to comb through the minutiae and entirety of my life. With every age, it seems that truth becomes further distorted. All I ask is an honest assessment. I was guilty of mistaking personal luxury for happiness and believing that I was being shielded by the traditional permanence of my position in the monarchy. But this did not make me impervious to the suffering of the French people, as so many wanted to perceive of me. Many of my actions were done with intention of fully defending the monarchy. I devoutly believed that the monarchy gave stability and reassurance to my people, but they saw otherwise. I became a mockery for the failures of the French monarchy. Part of it was because of my tragic ignorance, shallowness on my part, however well-intentioned it may have been. Ultimately, I was aligned with political decisions made by the crown, and I must take my accountability. I became the unintentional catalyst for revolution of political and social upheaval in which people cried out to be recognized for their own power and personal dignity. Well, I was seen as the antithesis of these qualities, as well as the enemy of liberty and equality. A storm of violent upheaval and a terror fueled by years of smoldering anger could not help but rise up. It had to come up. I became an archetype for this festering shadow. I can see that was my higher purpose, to represent that role. It was necessary. This type of tragedy can build for generations, and the fractures begin quietly. When a nation's leadership can no longer have empathy for those in hunger, sickness, suffering, and need, this is reflected back by those very people in distress in the form of a virulent anger that grows more powerful and amplified than ever in their own underlying empathy and understanding. People start to see their leaders as their enemies, and those enemies are no longer even considered human. They become grotesque monsters. Elitism in government without empathy invites resentment. Resentment can grow into violence and upheaval. Never underestimate the collective will and unshakable will of the human soul when it begins to feel repressed. A fatal mistake for any leader when they become even slightly desensitized to this, even when it is their own naivete. Collective anger has brought down many a leader. We are all equal, and there will always be balance one way or the other. A nation divided by contemptuous anger can never remain whole. Protect your most sacred convictions. Protect what you know in your heart to be right. But please never sacrifice your humanity and dignity along the way. And she finally says, that can never be taken away from you. unless you choose to allow it. That was my message from Marie Antoinette. I spent a long time on that one to make sure it was her. And I feel in my gut, even as I was reading, that was her. And, I always, my checks and balances for me as an intuitive, when I channel and I hear words, I hear intellect that I know is not mine. I know this is something that I've taken in from someone on the other side, but I wanted to be really sure it was her. And F1 Fanic, I thank you, because I never would have done a channeled reading with Marie Antoinette had you not suggested that. Excuse me, I just need to cough. For all that reading. Okay, let me get back to my comments here. I hope that wasn't too long-winded for you, but I did promise that to F1 Fanic. And you know what? I'm proud of that reading. I'm proud of it. It's always my honor, because I just let Chuck get out of the way. And whatever wants to come through. And I'm as sincere as I can possibly be. Some may not believe me, but thankfully enough people do. Let's see here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go a little faster through here because I've got to meet with someone. Pardon me, in about 20 minutes or so. And so I hope you please excuse me. And pardon me, also I had to belch a little bit there. Andy, you had a pet deer warrior? Oh my gosh. Let's see. Yeah, F1 Panics. That's why you must pay attention what your cat does. Anything that changes means something is up. Well, you know what? My cat didn't do anything different till like the last 3 days of her life. And even then, it wasn't up to the last day and a half. She really hid that well for me, because it was normal for her to just go off and sleep and be by herself. She wasn't giving me any indications, because believe me, I would have noticed it, and I would have gotten her to the vet earlier. I did do my sincerest best for her. What was this? I read a book about Lake Placid in New York when I went there, a haunted home, and owner's cat is missing there. Apparently they were close. Yeah, I hear stories like that all the time. Yeah, there was a movie called Lake Placid. Yeah. Oh, Stephanie, you'd like a card. It's the 5th year. Oh, my goodness. Allison's passing. Okay, certainly. I will, of course, do that for you. Let me get my cards out here. Dr. Stephanie is my very, very dear friend, and I loved Allison very much. Let's see. I'm just going to see what comes out. Stephanie, we need to get together sometime. We'll really go into this in depth. But you know what, Allison? This is what came out of the deck. Devotion. She loves you very much. She's in a state of grace where she is right now. It's no big revelation. I feel like I say this over and over, and I read about somebody on the other side, but they are in a beautiful, beautiful place. She's in a state of grace right now. She's saying she's devoted to you. Always, always devoted to you. And this came out like I was like, that's the truth. That's the truth. And so Allison, said, that's the truth. I'm devoted to you. I'm devoted to you. I'm in a state of grace right now. And I pulled this card, the community card. I just heard her say she is so proud of you for how you put yourself out. See, the community card can mean the world. I mean, it can be your neighborhood, it can be the world, but she's really proud of you for all you put out into the world, the community, the people, your purpose. She's just saying she's very, very proud of you. She watches. It's a it's just a given. She watches over you. She's with you. But that's what I got. If you ever want, if we get together, we'll privately one-on-one, we'll pull a lot more cards and really go into this in depth. But I mean, I'm almost not even surprised by this. This is very moving. I want you to see that, the devotion card, the light. She's like a light guiding you, an angel. She's proud of you. She loves you very much. And that's the truth. Let me get back to comments here. Sorry, that's the thing with these live shows. I try my best to be concise, but at the same time, I try to answer people's questions. And you guys have been wonderful, because last week I did have someone who was wanting to go beyond just one or two cards. She was basically wanting a complete free reading. And I went along with it because I wanted to help. But I thought about that later in the week, and I even talked this over with a few of my intuitive friends who said, this is a problem when we're empathetic and we want to give our love. We want to do the best we can for people, but we have to also remember we have to honor our own selves. And I should have probably said to that person, you want to go further, this book a reading with me. But I was just going with it in the moment while I was on live, but I did think about that. I've got to really be a little more careful with my boundaries, but you guys have been wonderful on this show. Oh, Kaloa, you didn't know that about the cremation, the SPCA. I mean, check with your own individual shelters. They may have different policies, but the one in Pasadena is only $50. I think that's a lovely thing they do. Warrior Queen's Magic. I need a doggy. I had a Jack Russell. He lived 19 years. He died. Miss him. Oh, Jack Russells are incredibly intelligent dogs. I think that was the dog that was on the TV show Frasier. Remember, what's his name? Eddie. Oh, Rockin' Pony Lady is here. If Unfanic Time is fleeting. I still don't know what you thought about my Marie Antoinette, because I got to read these comments here. Pat Sparrow, reading on your cat Willow. Yes, just give me a moment. Let me go through the comments here and I'll get back to you there, Pat Sparrow. Warrior Queen's Magic Strengths. I saw your live. Been thinking seriously. Get a pet. Am dragging my feet. Money for adoption. Well, sometimes SPCAs or humane societies, whatever they're being called. Sorry, I don't mean that to be flip. I'm not sure which is correct terminology, but they will do free adoption days and several times a year. So be on the lookout for those. And I don't know what the fees are like when you adopt an animal, but I don't think they make it too inaccessible. And also, it's my understanding that when you adopt, they do ask you a lot of questions and they check you out, because they want to make sure the animal is going to a good home. There are a lot of unscrupulous people out there. I've heard horror stories of animals being adopted and then being taken and sold to labs for experiments and things like that. Hopefully that's not happening much anymore, but that's terrible. So I'm glad that actually they take great precaution in who they allow to adopt. Kaloa, get some bird feeders and a hummingbird feeder if you have a place. Well, unfortunately, I don't. I live in an apartment. I can't do that. Maybe outside my window, but I love hummingbird feeders. They're such beautiful little creatures. Hi, Chris. Thank you for joining. People saying hello to each other. Let me speed through these. Gestapo giving humans water with worms in California. The Dorado group. Oh, I didn't hear about that. Oh, yeah, so that's right. We do have a big eclipse on Wednesday. Like I was asking Joyce Petrus, the gifted astrologer, what's going on, because the energy has been so intense. Oh, Andy, thank you for that. I appreciate the showering of love. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. What was this? I lost Warrior Queen's Magic. I lost my mom and dad 1 year, 14 days of each other. Then I lost my uncle 3 weeks after my mom, her brother. I understand your grief journey. I was her only daughter. Yeah. It's, what do I say? Each passing is very unique to itself. And our reactions to it are unique and one of a kind. Warrior Queen's Magic. Every time I see a kitty cat, I think my mom's sending me a message. May very well be. You know, I did a private reading for someone just a few days ago, and I kept hearing roses. She wanted me to contact her mother. I kept hearing roses. When it turned out the roses, I don't want to give this person's personal business away, but roses had a very, very special meaning that I didn't even know. I just kept hearing her mother saying that. So yeah, sometimes they will send you messages like that. Sometimes it's very simplistic, very basic, because they want to just make sure you get it. But also, as I say, everybody has the ability to channel. You know, don't be afraid to sit down with a piece of paper and just start writing. Trust what you're feeling and see what comes out. Black Belt Tarot, it's been 24 years since my mother's passing. I mentioned my mother died 23 years ago on August 9th, which was yesterday. And I will always remember, see, my mother was bigger than life. She had a volatile temper. She was a raging ball of fire. And she passed on the day that Mars was the closest it had been to Earth in 80,000 years. It was so close that you could actually see this big pink dot up in the sky. And I will never forget when my mother died. It was August night, so it was a very hot, muggy night. And I went up to the top of my the rooftop of my apartment building, and I just sat there and looked out at Mars. Thought, Mom, figures you choose now to go, you know. But you never get over it. You never do. You accept it. You learn to live with it, but you never get over it. But she may be sending you a message to a cat, you know, and sometimes cats and dogs, they will come to you. You don't pick them, they pick you, and you just know it. And I've had that happen. To me. Hi, Joyce. Okay, I'm way behind on these comments here. I got to really speed through. Forgive me, please, if I'm missing some of you. And somebody asked about her cat. I've got to go back to that. In fact, I better do that now before I lose my place and forget this and can't find the person. Pat Sparrow, can you get a reading of my cat Willow? I'm just going to see what comes up here quickly. Something simple. Well, I just went for the first card that jumped out of the deck. I don't know if Willow is with you or has passed on, but Willow wants you to know that you are family. You are family, and Willow takes a sense of peace from that. You know, like the dove of peace is on here. There's a sense of peace from that, but it's that solid security of family. I know that can be said for many pets, but I went for the first thing that came out of the deck, and I got family card. That's how Willow sees you, family. And I hope that helps you. Let me get back to the comments here because it is 7:51. I'm really under the wire here. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, and Black Belt working Queen Magic. Yeah, you're mentioning about your dad got cancer, advanced stage. We had no idea he passed Valentine's. Well, that was like Sasha. I didn't know she had cancer. She hid it from me. I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah, Andy, it will be like a pet stampede because I had a lot of pets when I was a kid. When I see that rainbow bridge and all those animals coming out towards me, I guess even it would count a pony we had on my grandmother's farm. All kinds of species will be coming to me. No snakes. Uh, Not that I didn't want one. I had my mother talked into letting me get a little tiny boa constrictor, but my dad put the foot down on that one. No way in hell are we having a snake in this house. No way. No way. And I realized now my dad was right. My dad was right. I've heard stories of those getting loose and getting into the floorboards. That happened to my hamster when I was a kid. Thankfully, we were able to retrieve him, but we had to destroy part of the kitchen to get him out. My mother and father were not happy about that. F1 Fennec, I'm thinking moving back to Europe and living the house I live in behind with the spirits of my cats. I would hope they would follow me. Oh, you can understand in the spirit world, it's much easier to follow you around. Of course, they'll be with you. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, they will connect with you and be with you. It's just like I have friends who do intuitive readings all over the world. Dr. Whimsy Anderson, I just see you're here, Oracle Whimsy. Dr. Whimsy Anderson does people all over the world. I've done it. It's because the connection is universal all throughout. It's much easier. Got to speed through these comments because I got to be somewhere soon. Kalo, I was unable to make a tribute video for my boy because too much pain, so he made one for me instead that I discovered after he died. I made a short video with it. Well, as I was mentioning, yeah, I saw Whimsy's comment there. Yeah, I have plenty of video and pictures beginning to end of her life. It's just, I can't bear to do that right now. One day. And Oracle of Whimsy, my dear, dear, beautiful friend, as I was just talking about you, Sasha was a huge presence and always gave us a smile. She was a media star. She was a celebrity. She was a celebrity before she was ever on any of our shows. But we gave her a vehicle. I used to say that she reminded me of Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie, beautiful, elegant, play these action heroes, but yet could walk the red carpet. I always thought Sasha could have put a blue sapphire collar on her to match her blue eyes, and I could have put her on the red carpet for the Oscars. But she was also a little action adventure figure. Oh, I love you, Whimsy. Thank you for joining. Okay, let me go down here quickly. I had to help my beautiful dog pass a couple of years ago. I always planned to paint her like my other dogs, but it's still too hard. Well, I do pet portraits, and I usually receive messages. I did this not too long ago for someone. I did a big canvas painting, and I got the hit, and my friend Pomona Remembers, who's a wonderful psychic, she picked up on Sasha and said, "Oh, Sasha wants you to paint her portrait. She wants you to paint her very grand and beautiful and put her in a beautiful frame and put her out so you can always look at her that way." I'll get around to it someday. It's just a little too soon right now. Plus, I have too many portrait commissions right now anyway. Not that I'm complaining, because I'm very happy to get them and I love doing them. Warrior Queen's Magic. My Jack Russell was there for me too. I talked to my doggy. Jack Russells are the best, loving, loyal, attached. Well, Siamese cats are too. Sasha was obsessed with me. Very possessive. She'd get jealous of people when they come over here, especially women. Other females, it's like, "He's mine, you bitch. Leave him." That was her attitude. She was very possessive of me. I was Sasha's boyfriend as far as she was concerned. But yeah, Rock and Pony Lady, you're right. I of course need to take care of myself first and eat. Yeah, and I will. I will eat some dinner soon. But I'm so appreciative of all of you who come on here, and I never want to be neglectful, and that's why I end up doing 3-hour shows. But I'm speeding through these a little more than I normally would. in Black Belt Turo. I saw my two Bichons and my peripheral vision once in a while. They come to visit, yes. Oh yeah, yeah, they do. And Amherst animals are innocent and they love unconditionally. It's the most honest, unconditional love you're ever going to have in your whole life. They're great teachers for us. Let me go through the. Andy, how about a fish or a hamster? Nah, I don't know. Fish, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had aquariums before and a fish. I've even had goldfish bowls, that type of thing. But fish are a lot of work. When you have, I once had a 20-gallon aquarium. It was beautiful. But when I think of all the work I had to do, cleaning that thing and maintaining it and checking the water pH level and the filters and everything, but it was beautiful. But I just don't know if I want to get into all that right now. Hamster, but I was intrigued with the idea of a parakeet. I hadn't even thought about that. Had not thought about a parakeet. Maybe. Sorry, I'm blinking. It's my contact lenses. What was this lady who started the women's college in New Jersey? Drained in Lake Placid's Mirror Lake, missing 11 years. Or did you mean drowned in Lake Placid? Recently found her body, full skin, minerals, and lake preserved her. Her husband died. Isn't that something? The other side of that story. Now, isn't this weird? Last night I read a story of a man, Yellowstone Park. He fell into one of the geysers, and the geysers, of course, that is boiling hot water, but it's also very, very acidic. And they said that they couldn't retrieve his body. They came back the next day. His body was completely dissolved, except for they found his wallet and his shoes floating in the water. That's all that was left. Sorry if that's morbid, but that's kind of like a counter to that. But isn't that interesting that her body was found intact like that because of all the nutrients in the water that's sustained her like that? Look, I guess sustain is not the right word. Preserved her. It's a better way of saying it. Yes, parakeets are very sweet and they're very smart. Ymir sent floating heart for 10 jewels. Oh, Kaloa ate him. Rest in peace, baby birdie. I said that's why I never would have dared gotten a parakeet while I had Sasha. I would not have had that bird for very long. Sasha would have said, "Ooh, hors d'oeuvres, lunch." Of course, it could have been like Tweety and Sylvester, where the bird would have had the upper hand. What was this word? Queen's Measure, and her son had suicide. They say she visits the Playhouse on that campus, and her husband haunts the library. It's in New Jersey University haunted. Lake Placid Homes, places blue front. That's an interesting story. I'll look more into Lake Placid later. I'd like to read a little more about it. And I didn't mean to just speed through your comment like that. I'm sorry. It's taking as quick as I could. Kaloa, talk about trauma, coming home to find the cat ate our parakeet we love since childhood. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you don't think I was being inappropriate making a joke like that. Oh, I see someone sent me $5. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see if it's there's a name on here. Oh, it's from Andy. Thank you, Andy. Thank you very, very much. I'm trying to get my comments back here. Well, thank you all. Thank you. I'm heartfelt grateful. But yeah, I hope you don't think I was making a. From Marty Memorzu sent 5. Did I say that right? I from Marty Nemerazuli 4428. Oh, sent $5. Thank you so very much. Thank you with all my heart. Saw the stories of the hauntings, Lake Placid. I will look into that. And I know there was a movie also. And your cat's playing with toilet paper, paper towels. Oh yeah, I went through that a lot. If one panic, I'm sure your next feline friend, it will be different, but it's always similar. Oh, it's never the same. You know, when people go out, oh, just get another cat. No, you never, ever, ever have that same relationship, that same personality ever again. But then I guess we're meant to have a new experience with each pet. They're souls that come here, definitely come here to teach us things. It's not accidental that they choose us. They have things, they have lessons to give us. Kaloa, I get nocturnal visitations from past loved ones. Lucid dreams also means you know you're in a dream. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh my goodness, people are sending in gifts here. From Kaloa, $10. Thank you. Thank you. And for the people I haven't acknowledged yet, I haven't been able, early on, I couldn't see the names, but I will look after the show. Thank you. You touched me deeply. Thank you. But anyway, lucid dreams also mean you know you're in a dream. I would say, yes, that's very much true, because you are aware you're in a dream, but yet at the same time, you're very conscious that something real is taking place. My sister can control what is happening in her dreams. That's also considered lucid dreams. Now, I don't know that I'm able to control things in my dreams, not that I can recall anyway. So that's interesting. And Warrior Queen's Magic, you need to read this book, my book by Madame Parmita. It's called Animal Familiars. Animal Familiars. Okay, I'll see if I can find that on iBooks after the show. Thank you for the suggestion. Madame Parmita, Animal Familiars. Okay, I'll take your recommendation. Catherine Castaneda, 4015. Wow, a lot of love on here tonight. Thank you. Warrior Queen's Magic. I don't know if I will recover from my mom's loss, especially since I didn't see her for a long time. Well, I know. It seems like everybody has guilt of some form or another, and we do have to get over that, because it's really not constructive, and I don't think it serves their souls once they're on the other side, because they want us to be happy. They're happy. They want us to be happy. I've even had that come through in some channel readings I've done for people, where they say, please just let go of that stuff. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not worried about it, so why should you be worried about it? I hear that a lot. My own mother, I didn't see her much the last 5 years of her life, and I could certainly be guilty about that. And I'll admit, part of it is because there was a 3,000-mile distance between us. And the uglier truth of it is, my mother could be a very, very difficult woman. And I did put off visitations that I should have made. My mother was getting older. She was getting ill toward the end. I should have gone back there. So I have my own things that I could feel guilty about, but I just know my mother's fine right now. She understands. She's okay. Guilt, what purpose does that really serve anymore? Let me go through here. What was this, Andy? It was Carol Burnett or Carrie Fisher died of a drug problem or cancer. Well, Carol Burnett's oldest daughter did have a drug problem, but ultimately it was a cancerous brain tumor that she died of. I think she was only about 38. Carol Burnett wrote about it in one of her books. Carol Burnett was, of course, beyond devastated herself. In fact, Carol Burnett said that when her daughter Carrie, her daughter, she said when she died, she took to her bed, did not get out of bed for a month, just pulled the covers over her head, couldn't face the world. Even though she knew it was coming, it was still too much. But Carrie Fisher also had a drug problem, but Carrie Fisher, I believe, was sober when she died, but she died of a heart attack, only about 60, 61, 62, way too young. Had a heart attack on a plane coming back from London. Warrior Queen's Magic cannot have a cat, but cats adore me like a mommy girl. Used to feed them, pet them. Miss my mom. She wished I learned to ride. She came from a horse training lineage. I love Saratoga. Oh, well, Warrior Queen's Magic, if you love cats, do like what I'm considering. Volunteer at a cat shelter. Get your cat fixed that way. Give your love to a lot of cats that really need it. What was it, Warrior Queen's Magic? Why do all the sensitivity attracts us? I guess because sensitive beings know that they've got someone who's going to hear them and listen. We have the sensitivity to receive them. We have the empathy, which are just critical tools when channeling from the other side. Or for that matter, any sensitive being. Maybe they see the goodness in our hearts, the sincerity. Not saying that just for me. I mean that for all of you out there, too. Because obviously a lot of you have very, very good hearts. Joyce Petrus says, Maya says, meow. You're lucky. Your Maya is only a little over a year old. You'll have her for a long time to come. And yes, as people are saying, give Maya a hug for us. And what was this here? Umaranol. Oh, am I saying this right? Umaranol is some 2239. I know I mangled your name. Please forgive me, but hello, and thank you for being here and saying hello to me. This is where some of your names I wish I had phonetics I could pronounce correctly. I have this problem, Whimsy, you know this, when we do our show on Taco Tuesdays and Hot Topics Thursdays, it's my job to be like the woman on Romper Room, turn the mirror around, go, oh, I see Becky, I see Johnny, I see Billy, it's my job to read off the names, and I'll get to a name and I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to say this. And you're on live. And I think you know me well enough to know that I try to be very, very respectful to everyone. Andy, no, I've never had to watch Galaxy. Galaxy is Anastasia's cat. No, I've never done that. Whimsy's cat, Mila, I've watched her. Oh, I have stories. I've got some cat sitting stories with her, including the times, Whimsy, you were somewhere in the world, thousands of miles away, and Mila ran out the door and wouldn't come back for almost 9 hours. And I couldn't leave your home. And I had plans that night and everything. I couldn't leave because I thought, oh my God, I've lost her cat. What am I going to do? And then like 10 o'clock that night, Mila comes around, just walks in the door like, feed me, clean my litter box. That's the attitude of a cat. Joyce Petrus, your phone is dying. Oh, better plug that thing in. The Warrior Queen's Magic. You met Princess Diana and you were younger, singing at a school choir in Caribbean. I have a friend who met her also. That she was just delightful. Well, bye, Joyce. Thank you for being here. Okay, this just skipped on me again. Let me go back. Okay, let me go back, find my place again. Okay, oh God, it's 8:11. I'm running out of time here. Yes, I loved Queen Elizabeth too. I've channeled her. I read a channel reading from her on Whimsy's show, and I need to make a video of that for my own channel. Andy, what's a death mask? Well, it's literally that. I don't know if they're done much anymore, but it's where you put some molding stuff on the face of a person who's died, and you make a mask from that, and then you can fill it with plaster or modeling wax, like Madame Tussauds, her famous wax figures. She would sometimes work from actual death masks made, or likewise, you can do a life mask too. In fact, actors who wear prosthetic makeup in the movies, many times they have to sit and have like a plaster life mask made. It's not a pleasant thing. It sounds very claustrophobic. You have to sit there for like an hour with your eyes closed and your whole face enveloped in plaster. But from that, they can use that to make accurate prosthetic makeup pieces to glue onto their face. Warring Queen's Magic, Charlie Chaplin pic. Love it. Oh, do you mean the drawing I did of Charlie Chaplin? Yeah, I did him once. In fact, Whimsy and I were in London. We were in the, I can't remember. Is it the East End of London? I can't remember. North End, East End of London, but it was the part of London that used to be the slums. Charlie Chaplin grew up in extreme poverty. Well, like a lot of those communities, they end up becoming chic. They start putting in all these fancy restaurants and $1 million lofts and things like that. So it's actually very chic and trendy now. And they have murals of Charlie Chaplin there. But it was in the late 1800s, it was anything but chic. Charlie Chaplin and his mother were in extreme poverty. Kaloa, the royals are not in charge like we often think they are. They are born into a role they did not choose. Oh yeah, we could, if I had the time, I could really go into that and really talk about that. It's not a happy life. And it is very much like, it's like Eleanor Roosevelt said of being first lady. She said she felt like a goldfish in a fishbowl where you have this very limited space, and being a glass fishbowl, while you're in your space, everybody is watching your every action. And that's what it's like for the royals. They're in a fishbowl. Pardon me if I'm skipping through a few of these. I've just really, really got to do this. Kaloa. Okay, I'm finally getting to comments about Marie Antoinette. That's how far behind on the comments here. Well, thank you, Kaloa. I'm, reading that out loud, I have to say I'm proud of that channeling, and I feel it's authentic. Imhurst, my mother used to say that Marie Antoinette became gray overnight. She was just a child, not without empathy, as she was portrayed. Well, I understand she was in her late 30s when she was executed. And my own understanding is that she had naturally pale blonde hair, and some said at the time of her execution that it looked to be gray. I don't know if it was actually gray, if it was just pale blonde. But it's a tragic story on a multitude of levels. And one of the reasons I felt my reading was authentic was because I was feeling a lot of heartfelt empathy and sorrow for her as I read it. I was really sensing a gentle soul who meant no harm. That it was, as she said, it was a lot of her own naivete that got her into trouble. I mean, she acknowledged she had accountability. She had enormous accountability because of her position, and she had to accept the accountability. But a lot of it was an innocent naivete. And, she was not this heartless, cold woman with no empathy for her people, as was the popular belief, and hence made its way into the history books. As she even said in my reading, please do an honest account of my life. You owe me that much, an honest reckoning of my life. What was this? Warrior Queen, some beautiful love it, Chuck. Oh, thank you. F1 Fanic. I wanted your comment, F1 Fanic, because I did that at your prompting. That was more than I expected, Chuck. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the painting. Yeah, as soon as I can get that painting done, I will post that reading as a full video on my channel. Like I said, I've got Princess Diana. I've got that one. I may have to make a 2 or 3 part because it's so long. And I've also learned, because part of this, when you get these messages, I've learned that sometimes you do have to edit them, condense them down a bit, where you can still keep the integrity and the essence of the message, But if you go on too long with these, you can lose your attention of your viewers. I don't know. That was a long reading right there, but that was as I got it from her. So you tell me if I should keep it as is. But thank you, F1 Fanic. I thank you for asking me. I'm sorry it took so long to do that for you. Oh, Imhurst, thank you. Thank you. That's a great compliment, and I take that to heart. I believe you are gifted, sincere, and ethical. Well, I am ethical, and I do have integrity, and I report what I hear, even though I know it may not be what people want to hear. I got that with the Amelia Earhart. There were some things in that people didn't want to hear. They wanted to hear, well, this is how the plane crashed and how it went down. And yes, it ran out of fuel. And this is what happened to my navigator, blah, blah, blah. And Amelia was being very coy with me. Like, she actually enjoyed the mystery, saying I'm far better remembered for the mystery. And she was even being a little coy with, because she knew this was going to be a public message. I'm very upfront when I speak to these souls. Do I have your permission to read this publicly? And she was basically like, folks, come on, admit it. Don't you like a good puzzle? Don't you like a good mystery? Isn't it more interesting this way? But she did tell me a lot of things that did happen, but I took some criticism for that. And including one person said, well, why didn't you ask her this? Why didn't you ask her that? And that? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I did, but that's what she wanted to say. And the person wrote me back very snide, said, well, isn't that convenient? And I wrote back, sir, if I wanted to be quote unquote convenient, don't you think I would have just made up some stuff and stuck it in there? Because I can assure you that'd have been a lot more convenient for me. But no, I reported what I heard. And that's what I will always do, because I feel that when a soul like that is gracious enough to speak to you, you honor them. You honor their wishes. And I'm told, no, this is between you and me. I don't want you making that public. You bet your life. I adhere to that and I honor that. Let me get back. Here's some other comments here. F1 Fennec, do you plan on doing something with what you have with Amelia Earhart? Simpler. Excuse me. Blah, blah, blah. I've been on here so long, I messed that one up. Do you plan on doing something with what you have about Marie Antoinette, similar to what you did with Amelia Earhart? Well, it's too late for me to do a video about the making of the art like I did with Amelia Earhart, because it's like 80% completed already. But yes, that is my idea, to do a video where I would read the statement, hopefully know it a little better so I can at least make some eye contact with the camera and not just keep my face buried in my iPad. I was reading that just fresh for you here. But yeah, and show my artwork. And something very similar to that. I've already done that with, I did that with my Marilyn Monroe on the anniversary of her 100th, what would have been her 100th birthday. And I did a reading from Betty Davis. And I showed my Betty Davis portrait behind me. And I did Harry Truman. And my Harry Truman got low numbers. I don't know why. And I'm so proud of it. It's such a beautiful message about the power of the people and saving our democracy and how we will prevail. And it's right from Harry Truman. I hope more people discover it and check it out. But I did a piece of artwork there. My intention with many of these channel readings is I want to do artwork to go with them because, well, frankly, it's a great way to promote my art, because I do take commissions for portraits. So it's a wonderful way to show what I do as an artist, but also to show what I do as a transmedium. And it's a good tie-in, for people who want to do private readings with me, and I can demonstrate what I do in more ways than one. And also, many times when I do artwork for people, I do get a channeled message. It's very hard for me not to, because I spend hours with a portrait. And they do connect with their soul, especially with the eyes. Eyes are very important to me when I do a portrait. In fact, I consider eyes non-negotiable. If I don't get those eyes right, I will toss the whole piece and start over again, because the eyes, it's a cliche, but they are the window to the soul. They really are. They really are. Faster, Chuck. People need to go. Looking out for you. Thank you. Uh, yeah, Kaloa, they could counsel you well at SBC. It educates you on their responsibilities and let you know it's like adopting a kid, basically. Oh, you're making me think. Yeah, I'd like to volunteer doing that. I will in time. Stephanie, thank you for the cards. Oh, with Stephanie, I hope that helped you. Stephanie, I could really feel the love, and the devotion from Allison there. I really did. Uh, Move to a place with a yard, Chuck. Yeah, if I live in LA. That would be like a $1.5 million to do that. I'm not kidding. It's very, very expensive to own even a half an acre here on a house. Very expensive. I wish it were more possible. There's a reason why so many of us rent, and there's a reason why there's a big apartment shortage here. So many people just cannot afford to buy homes here. Warrior Queen's Magic, 2 eclipses this month. You wrote this mouth, but I know you meant this month. Get your glasses. I have mine from last solar eclipse in Lake Placid. Andy, would you ever channel Maya Angelou or Rosa Parks? Those are great, great suggestions. I'd certainly consider it. Yes, very much so. Warrior Queen's Magic, your mother was a florist. Yvonne White, my father Richard passed away in 2008. Today is his birthday. He would have been 106. Could you please see if he has a message for me today? Well, okay, I'm going to see if I can keep this to one card here. Well, okay, 3 jumped out. I get this one. It's like all the time I get this a lot, but he wants to remind you to really work on your intuition, your receiving abilities, because he'd love to send you messages, talk to you. Just be aware of your own intuition. As I was saying earlier in the show, everybody has the ability to do this. Everybody. So he's telling you to just be mindful of your intuition. But the other thing, you can take whatever this means, but he's saying be conscious of competition in your life and stay really disciplined and be aware of a certain amount of competition in your life, which is not to mean anything ominous or anything, but I'm getting it's nothing big, but he's telling you to be mindful of that. And that's what I got from the cards as they came out of the top of the deck. I hope that resonates with you. I ask that a lot. Does that resonate with you? I've got to find a better way to word that, but see how that feels to you. Okay, I gotta get through these fast. I'm gonna meet with someone. It's 8:25 here. I really got to get through these quickly. We may have to save some questions for next week. Because this is going to take some time to go through these. I was supposed to have met someone 25 minutes ago. So sorry. I'm so sorry. I may have to have some of you come back next week with questions because I want to answer your questions properly. And if I'm feeling rushed, I might not do the best for you here. Oh, Andy, there's your gift. Thank you so much. Kaloa's gift. Thank you. That's it. Oh, that's right. F1 Fanatic. The bodies from the Edmund Fitzgerald are preserved in the cold water of Lake Superior. I've heard that. Yeah, of course, I always think of that song. Was it Gordon Lightfoot? The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I can hear the melody in my head. The super chat from Kaloa. Oh, yes, I did. I just acknowledged that. Okay, I'm going through these fast here. Okay, and this skipped on me again, darn it. Okay, let me go through these. Please pardon me for skipping through these and not answering all your questions. But as I said, I had to meet with someone at 8 o'clock, and it's now 8:27. The show always ends up going on long, and I don't complain about that normally. And this is not a complaint now, but it's just some other commitments. F1 Fanic, Google Marie Antoinette's death mask. Oh, I did. That's how I did the portrait. I worked from her death mask. I didn't do her dead, obviously, but I used that as inspiration to see her actual facial features. And also knowing that she had very pale blonde hair. You can see she was a beautiful woman, very beautiful. Well, Andy, you're saying that about her hair being predominantly white. Well, actually, what I read in the history books is, in those days, people used to take white powder, like the powdered wigs. Well, people would do their own hair. And I read that Marie Antoinette would take her pale blonde hair and then powder it. And that would make it look white. And that might be why some say it appeared gray. That's the problem with historical accounts. They can go all over the place. And as time goes on, it's much harder to verify them. Yes, F1 Fanic. Yes, she was definitely vilified. That came through in the reading. My heart went out to her. I found myself getting sad for her as I was channeling that. Let's see here. I'm so sorry to go so fast here. F1 Fanic, I have no doubt that she had lovely eyes. I can imagine with her pale blonde hair, she undoubtedly had blue eyes. But I really got a sensitive soul, a certain tenderness to her. Let me get down here. I'm almost at the bottom of the comments. Well, it was this Tricky Tree, 8815. I wonder if on a client basis you could incorporate the portrait channeling of past loved ones or something like that. Oh, I do that. I do that now. Hit me up. I love doing portraits and channeling messages. Definitely. If you're ever interested, anyone, it's the way to reach me is Dransfieldchuck, one word, at gmail.com. My information is here in the comments. I'm always open to doing private readings and portraits. And I didn't come up with the terminology. I had a manager at the time who said, call them soul portraits. And sometimes I think I could come up with a better name, but soul portraits says it. I channel the soul when I do the portrait. But usually what I do, I work from photographs. Believe me, I don't just completely conjure a portrait out of my head. That was another person with the Amelia Earhart. On my portrait that I did, I, of course, worked from a photograph, but I nonetheless imbued her energy into the portrait. But I had someone write me, well, that's a well-known photograph. And like I was implying that I had just made it up out of my head. I wrote back, I got a little snide. I wrote in big capital letters. Obviously, I was aware of this. And if you will watch my video, you will see the portrait in plain view as I'm painting it. Anyway, sorry about that little tangent there. I've been advised when you get comments like that, it's better not to answer because people like that sometimes just want to take you down a rabbit hole. I'm getting better about it, but I'm a sensitive being. I think we've all gone through this, any of us who've done YouTube. Let's get to the comments here. That's right. Yes, it's Gordon Lightwood. But people saying we should let Chuck go. Yeah, I do have to go because I promised someone I'd meet with her. But yes, tomorrow, Warrior Queen's Magic. Tomorrow is Taco Tuesday, the Oracle of Whimsy. the show I do on the Oracle of Whimsy channel with the wonderful, magnificent Dr. Whimsy Anderson, and Joel Tilson, our floor director, has joined us on the show. So it's the three of us talking a lot about politics and current events. And we do readings on there. It's 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I worked in my plug there. I'm here, of course, every Monday. And let's see here. And yeah, Carol Burnett. I love Carol Burnett. She's on MeTV. Also, Amazon Prime has a Carol Burnett channel on there. At least I think they still do. Let me go through these fast here. I think we reached the bottom. Excuse me for a few people. I'm not being rude to you. I just have to move on. I think I'm better. What was this? Warrior Queen's Magic, volunteer teaching art, intuitive healing. Please move out of LA. Well, you know what? I still love LA though. But yeah, actually teaching art is something I thought of doing on my channel, making tutorials, maybe doing Zoom classes. I definitely could do that. Intuitive healing, all of the above. You know, it's the time it takes to put all of this together. You know, even just the few videos you see there, you know, a video that might be 3 to 5 minutes, it's still a lot of work. You know, you got to set up your lights, your cameras. Sometimes you do editing, shoot a block of those, and then write your captions up and everything. YouTube channels are a lot of work. You know, it's not for the faint-hearted, but there's a lot of rewards in it. Like right now, all of you have just been so beautiful to me. I thank you for all of you who have sent me gifts. Thank you dearly for that. Thank you dearly. And Imher said Marie had strawberry blonde hair. I don't know about that. I don't know. I just read pale blonde. It's possible. But I understand she did powder it to make it look white. And that's the way she's often depicted in her paintings. So I better step while I'm ahead because it's 8:34 here. And what was this here? By the way, my friend from college lost her house in Hollywood Hills due to a predatory loan. Oh, I'm dreadfully sorry to hear that. Dreadfully sorry. But anyway, my friends, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead of the game here. I don't know how long. Oh, I've been on here 2 hours and 26 minutes and 54 seconds. So I said this was not going to be a 3-hour show. Well, I was right there, but it's come close to it. I love you all. I'm grateful to every one of you. Thank you for sticking it out with me. And if you have a chance, check out some of my videos. I mean, I'm proud of them. I'm going to be putting up more as I go. Again, I can be reached for private readings, artwork commissions, dransfieldchuck@gmail.com. Information is here in the comments. I'm going to say goodnight to you for now until next week. Love you all. Thank you.